Okay, so does anyone in here, when they were younger, their parents put them in like a program like Scouting or Girl Scouts? One, two, three. Well, I'm here to talk to you guys about how it's actually good that either to volunteer or join an organization like the BSA or Boy Scouts of America, something along those lines. Well, how I joined was that I think in 5th grade, my dad wanted me to have some extracurricular activities for me to do around the house, and I just sit there all day, So he made me join the, I think, Cub Scouts, Cub Scouts, and so I joined Cub Scouts as a Webelow. That's like the rank before you transfer over to Boy Scouts, and so on and so forth, all the way up into legal. And it was great. There's a lot of like small interactions for kids and stuff like that to do. Like we did this like rain gutter regatta thing, and we made these like wooden boats, and then pre-made kits, and we raced them down, rain gutters, for little kids to do, something to keep them occupied during the day. And later on, after 5th grade, we went into 6th grade, and I went to Boy Scouts. And so I started off with my troop as a scout, and from there, I went up all the way to the ranks, and now I'm currently an Eagle Scout. And so with this, the 3 topics I'm going to tell you or give throughout the speech is a brief history of how scouting started, the benefits of being a scout, and how scouting benefits your community as well, and all the people that have impacted our world today that have also been scouts. So scouting dates back all the way to the 20th century, from a British Army officer who was stationed in India from war. I forgot the name of the war. It started like a B or something. But he realized while he was in this war that none of his men knew how to survive in the outdoors. They didn't know how to cook without utensils. They didn't know how to tie knots. They didn't basically know the necessities to survive in the outdoors. So he thought that was very troubling. So he made a book, and he made a book that was for his men to learn and to use, so that they know how to survive in the outdoors. So someone doesn't have to hold them by their hand. So the book was called Aids to Scouting, and what this book did was to help people find the resourcefulness, adaptability, and the qualities of leadership that frontier conditions demand. So that's what this book did, and it led other people to all these different scenarios and stuff like that. But really, it got the interest of when he came back home from the war. He found out that it got interest from a lot of young boys in England. All these young boys, they took interest. They thought it was fun. They played games out of it and stuff like that. They were playing, pretending that they were these so-called army scouts, that they were in the war. They were using this handbook to play games, stuff like that. So he took this and noticed this, and he decided, well, he liked the idea of that, and so he decided to make a program out of it. And so what he did, he took 20 boys with him to this island off the shore of England on the I believe it was in August of 1907. He took about 20 boys with him on an island called Brownsea Island in a sheltered bay off the southern coast of England. And so he took these 12 boys, and what he basically did with them is he divided them. The boys divided each other up into troops, and they stayed there for 12 days. And it is said that they had like a really great time. They played games. They had like competitions and stuff like that, because they're all divided into like groups, and they had a lot of, I guess, bonding time with other boys of their same nature. So from all this history and stuff like that, it transferred over into the United States, and grew from there. All started from an island in England, and it's basically all over the world now. And so now there's this one man who didn't really grow up in scouting. You know, he didn't do scouting when he was younger, and his name is Clark Green. And so what he noticed when his years in scouting, and he helped along with all the boys and his son and all that stuff like that, he noticed as you journey through scouting, you won't just be a tourist seeing the world of adventure and challenge. You will be a traveler experiencing it. And what this quote embodies basically is that scouting will bring a lot of new horizons to you. You know, you go on hikes, you know, places that you've never been before, you know, because a lot of times, you know, we just sit at home like, oh, that looks cool, but it's on your computer screen. You never see it in person. You see it through the eyes of someone else. You know, you never see it yourself. And which is kind of troubling nowadays. You know, everyone's such a recluse. You know, no one wants to go outside. No one wants to experience anything. No one wants to learn anything that requires physical activity much nowadays. I know there's a lot of people who are active in sports and stuff like that, but there's not that many people that like to go out and camp in the woods for, you know, a couple days, you know. Like, it's nice to see nature without detox from technology once in a while. So like that, with Clark Green, my dad also was that as well. He was an influential figure in my scouting days as well. And he never really did scouting when he was young. So he brought me up into it. And he thought it was really important. It really amazed him how much it influenced my life and how it became, you know, part of me today. And scouting is a really good thing for parents who don't have that much connection with their kids, because it involves the parents with their kids. You know, like they come on camping trips with them. They go to all the little events here and there, and you know, they're with their kids, because I know most nowadays that parents just, instead of interacting with their children, they just use electronics to distract them. And because everyone's too busy, you know, they don't have anything to do. So they like, oh, here's a tablet, or here's my phone, play with that for a little bit, you know, instead of paying attention to them and giving the attention that they need to, you know, have that connection with either father, son, mother, daughter, so on and so forth. And it's just really, like, I guess you could say, troubling nowadays that is occurring. But I think that scouting might resolve that, because the parents will be involved with the kids by going to each of the, you know, they go camping with their father, mother, and really at any age, like, if you're thinking like, oh, like, why join scouting now, or I mean, just why not, like, because you can join at basically any age. You could be a parent volunteer, you could be an assistant scoutmaster or a scoutmaster if you're an adult, or maybe in the future when you guys have either kids, or like you can, it's really great, because I know it's kind of like dying down because everyone looks negatively upon it, because like of all the negative rumors about it way back, I think that was a couple years ago, where it really hit the peak because of all the gay pride marriage and stuff like that, and how that related to the scouting and stuff like that. It was just a mess. But besides all that, scouting is actually really beneficial. It's good for, especially when you have your Eagle Scout like that. I'm not trying to brag or anything, but it's also good on job interviews, and also college applications as well. They look highly into someone who's an Eagle Scout, because it shows that they know leadership. Because in scouting, you're taught leadership, you're taught skills to survive, you're taught skills to, you know, basic everyday need skills. And I even learned public speaking in scouting, to be honest. Like we had our court of honors and stuff like that. You know, we needed to go up and speak about what we did over the summer, or what we did, you know, past camps. And I was MC a couple times. You know, now this kind of flows a little bit more naturally. So I hope in the next time that you either think of scouting or see a scout, you know, offer to help, because they're always there to help your community, any organization. They're always doing something for a good cause, generally. And so I hope this will, you know, change your decision either in the future or maybe now. Thank you.
So Eric, what did you think?
I think your speech was really well presented. I think in the beginning you couldn't figure out what to do with your hands, and I think you slowly, as you got through the speech, you realized like what you can do with them, and I like that improvement. I noticed that a lot. Well, I was a Cub Scout for most of it, and then I quit 6th grade-ish. Yeah. So I didn't know the history behind it, so that was really informative to me, and I'm sure everyone else in the class. I also noticed that you're passionate about your topic, you being an Eagle Scout. I know that that was a lot of work, and doing your Eagle Scout project and all of that must have been a fun experience, and I'm sure everyone here realizes that, or I hope they do. Yeah, so overall I thought it was a really good speech, and I really enjoyed listening to it. Thank you.
All right, well, I think you get a little bit of leeway because of the subject. I think it's not a bad subject at all to be talking about. It's going to be interesting to some people. It needs to be developed a little bit more as a thing that you want to motivate people to participate in or look favorably upon. The way you do so is basically by sharing a little bit of the history and your personal experience there. And I think that you can build a stronger argument. When you mentioned at the end all the advantages of being an Eagle Scout and having that as an accomplishment, there's a lot of data out there that talks about how those sorts of things are associated with success, that people who are Eagle Scouts often achieve higher positions in society. When you talked about the job hiring thing, that's all asserted on your part, and there should be some data that supports those kinds of things. And I think that that's one of the things that's missing from the speech. You do a nice job speaking to the audience. I think you're very good talking to us and kind of conveying your personal authority about the subject. That helps quite a bit. All your anxiety's coming out in your hula move. Yeah, you are still doing the swaying kind of thing, and that's really something that you need to try and get some control over. I thought the history section needs to be a little bit shorter. It needs to be documented more. You need to give some source citations in the presentation, because it sounds like it's, I don't want to say like it's made up, but it sounds like it's really a summary of things that you believe to be true about scouting, but haven't necessarily documented and proven that they are true about scouting. And I think that that's a little bit of a problem. It's good when you can point to personal examples, but I don't know how generalizable a personal example is. Now, of course, you have an advantage here of, you know, somebody who has perspective on it and experience on it. So I've got, you know, because I'm an insider on that sort of thing. I'm not an Eagle Scout, but I was in scouting for, you know, since I was a little kid. I did the Cub Scouts and the Webelos and the Boy Scouts and all that kind of stuff, so I was in for a long time. I won't say I was a lifer, although that's the level I achieved. I was a life scout. That's as far as you got. But you know, you can't rely on insider knowledge on those sorts of things, and you've got to be able to convey it a little bit more broadly. The information about how many people are participating in scouting, changes, for example, in the amount of participation, how people get involved in doing these sorts of things, naming some of the community projects that are going on. Any of those sorts of things would be helpful at building your argument a little bit more. All right, thank you. Yeah.